Hello to any of you who may be watching this video. I am Rick Foster, and I'm offering you a process of making percussion caps that will serve to shoot your black powder revolvers and rifles. Here's one of my Dragoon pistols, which I really like, and it has proven to shoot these homemade caps very well. And as you know, it's been very difficult to find in stores or in internet supply sources. The percussion caps are just impossible to get. This is going on nearly 2 years. So I worked on making a process. You can buy tools, but I wanted to make my own tools and make my own caps. And I came up with this little can label, this is the only one like that there is. But if you were to look in there, you'll see I've made quite a number of caps. This is not the only ones, but these work. Most of these are made with red ring caps. So where do you start? Well, let me present the tools that will help you make your percussion caps. I began with a hole punch. This is a 9/16 punch and really punches out a 1/2-inch disc. And you can see here from this cola can that I've punched out about 20. One cola can will make about 60 caps. And the next thing I have is this board, which is I call it a forming board. There's a 1/4-inch hole, and there's a bevel cut out around it. Here's where I'll show you how it started, with a 1/4-inch hole, and I'm drilled this hole too far. You can see the bevels, these are about a 1/2-inch bevels, but you have to take a wood carving tool or whatever good sharp knife you have to cut wood, and eventually you have to widen this bevel. Now the purpose of the bevel is so that when you shape the cap or the disc into a cap, it will form without punching through. I found out if you don't have these wedges carved into the hole, what will happen is that the disc will just punch through when you use a star driver or a 1/4-inch screwdriver that I've cut off on the end. If you try to punch your disc through these holes that have not been carved into the star, then you just waste your time and you just punch through there and you waste your material. And here's kind of what I've done. I've taken with a little time, and I won't do it all here, but I cut it around carefully. And I won't do it all on this particular board, but I'll show you that I have on this board, I've taken a marker and mark 8 lines and along each line I cut a wedge that goes down into the hole. And then you take something like a small file or a knife and you cut the wedges wide enough to provide some relief for the disc as it's being pushed through here. Now I've got about several of these. And I got, this is the first one I had. And I've made another one along here, and I've actually made 3 of them along this board. This is not as thick as this is a store-bought oak board that is 1.5 inches by 1/2, and it's good and sturdy. And you do need something like oak or walnut to make this work. I say that I have a hole that says number 10 and number 11. Depending on the size of cap you want, it determines the hole you drill. But you make them wide enough so that you're you can form your cap into a cup. Now the next thing is this. I'm going to demonstrate this with a piece of aluminum disc made from the pie pan that I showed you there. I think that the cola can is better. It's a stronger material. But and then eventually you'll form a wedge around there. And the wedges along the edge of the hole give relief that allows the cup, as you're forming it, to fold into a cup. And I want to show you how to use this aluminum can material. It'll make about 60 percussion caps. I'm using a 9/16 hole punch to punch these out. I tried a 1/2 inch, but I've been more satisfied with the 9/16 punch. And it punches a disc that's (9/16) in diameter, and the soda cans are coated with a paint and a plastic. So when you try to push those through a hole, like this hole, it breaks through. It will not form. So let me put one here and show you how that does that. There's several ways to punch a hole in it, but the ones to use in the house are like the screwdriver, which is a 1/4 inch diameter rod, a star-shaped driver, which is a little larger than the 1/4 inch, but not too much. It's the star that helps you form your percussion cap, and this really small one, I use it to push the roll cap into the hole, into the percussion hole. And I'm going to try to start one of these with this. Now this disc is just straight out of the Pepsi can. And I will try to make one out of this roasting pan aluminum. and it's not as strong as the other, as the aluminum can. That's the, yeah, it's not as strong as the aluminum can. So, okay. I'm going to have to hammer this on there. I didn't bring a hammer in the house, but I'm going to use this piece of wood. It's marked it, but didn't cut it. Well, I can use a pair of scissors and cut the disc, which this roasting pan or pie pan material is very thin, very soft. Now these others from the cola cans, you could possibly do this, but it is spending a lot of time. The hole punch produces a regular disc. Regular in that they're all the same. And I'm taking this pie pan disc and put it over the hole. And I'm going to punch it through with the 1/4-inch punch. Alright, let's see if I made a little cup. What you see here is a little percussion cap cup, and it's formed in this star hole. And I'll use another hole to several uses for this one, but mostly it's to make the sides even. So in the end, I have a cup made out of the 9/16 hole cutter. And how would you use those? Well, you can use these to make percussion caps. I'll get to that in a bit. All right, now then, the question is these soda can disc. The problem with them is that they don't form well with that paint on there. So you can center it. Push it down. But the problem in the end is that it breaks. If you look at that, you'll see where it is. The line is broken through. As the aluminum cap bends, it cracks. So I've learned a process of improving these by taking a alcohol burner just like you would use in a buffet line at a restaurant, or carry in a backpack, or camping gear. And use a pair of needle nose pliers. Take one of these discs and burn the paint off. If you do it too often, it'll actually melt the aluminum. But you can see that it's changed color, and well, there's a lot of extra work to do this. Well, it is. But if you want the caps, this is the process working with these tools. I have used copper foil purchased from from Hobby Lobby. And they sell rolls of copper foil that's 0.003 or 0.005, and those rolls are 12 inches by 30 inches. That's lots of caps, and that material works very well. Here again is another one, burning the paint off. If I'm not careful, I'll burn up the aluminum, but I'll prepare several of these this way. And you can see that it did cause that to bend. This alcohol lamp is pretty hot. I've tried a little kerosene burner, but it smokes up the disc too much. This works very well, and you can see that it is cooked or burned the paint off, which is what you want. One might ask, is this worth your time to do all this? It's worth your time if you can't get percussion caps. And you don't have to make several hundred. You can make as many as you need. When you go to a range with your cap and ball revolvers, you don't shoot hundreds of rounds. You can, unlike center fire guns, but you don't have to make hundreds of caps. If you make 25 or 30, it's probably going to be enough for a time at the range. Or you can sit down and in an evening and make 50 of these. It doesn't take that long. Make them in stages. Or now, what I have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. I'm going to make 10 of these discs. Now that I've burned the paint off of them, now I can use them to form into a cup. And that didn't work, did it? Look at that. Burn that up. And you can see it works well. And the next step, have these discs prepared. is to form some cups, percussion cap cups. There's two kinds I use. I make them from these little roll caps. Not roll, these are the red ring caps used to fire toy revolvers. And they are surprisingly strong charge in them. So I'll cut off the several of these. I'll cut the extra plastic off of them. And this is where I start. These are the, if you can find these are pretty old ones. If you can find new ones, they will work as well. Here's some. I've had some of these for 15 or 20 years nearly. And these seem to be working very well. What happens is the plastic degrades and crumbles. But these that I have in front of you, they are not, they didn't degrade or crumble. So here I have, I hope I've heated this up enough. You can see here. I put the disc over top of the star. I take a star driver, connect it, pick up a ring cap, set it right in the center, and drive it down through here. And next thing I use, I take another one that I've made the hole in, but doesn't have the star, and use it and there you have a percussion cap. That's a little bit off center. As you can see, but it still functions well. One. Didn't break through, didn't crack the disc. Occasionally one of these will ignite when you're, I'm checking to make sure it didn't crack. It didn't. And you can see it's made a very usable percussion cap. And so I have two. with the driver and pick up the percussion cap, set it right in the center, and push it down into the hole. And the reason I have it on a flat surface is to make sure the bottom is squared. So in a very short amount of time, I've made several workable percussion caps. All right, I'm going to make another form of percussion cap using the roll caps. Same process, almost. I cut off 2 at a time. You could use 3, but I've been using 2. Cut off 2 of those dots and fold it in the center. You can see it's folded in the center that way. And what next? Well, you want to get this in the bottom of the cup. And there's 2 possible ways. Set the disc on top of the star. Put the caps in the center of the disc. I'll use this 1/4-inch driver. And just like I did with the ring caps, I push this down into the center of it. Does it work? We'll see here. And so we have a percussion cap with the paper caps. They're a bit off center. I don't want them off center, but they're not so much off center that they won't fit on the pistol. They will. Fold another one. Set it on the center of the aluminum disc. Quarter-inch rod or screwdriver bar. Push it down also. It doesn't seem quite centered in there. Yeah, this centered very well actually. Don't have percussion caps. And I'll do a third one. I'll have 6 caps that can fit on the revolver. Again, the roll caps. No, dropped one. Folded in the center. It's best to see that the caps are centered. Put that on the aluminum disc. Carefully with the 1/4 inch screwdriver and push it down into the center. Yeah, I think that looks like it's going to work pretty well. And this didn't center the way I wanted it at all, so I'm cutting off a little bit of the edge. All right. Right there I have 6 percussion caps, 3 from the ring caps and 3 from the paper caps. Do they work? Well, that's the question. So I'm going to cap the revolver here. This is ring caps. Come on. So I'm putting the red ring cap ones on first. And they seem to hang in there just the way I want. And I'm sure it would be to your advantage if you're on the range somewhere. Do not put these on your revolver or a rifle until you're up on the line if you have a loaded gun. Now then I'm going to put the 3 caps that are made from the paper caps. And you may have to make some adjustment in the holes in the, but these, I've got 3 of each kind on the revolver.